crikey, Martin, what have you done? It's another major tarot. This is far-flung countries. This is America.
What is it?
This is the universe or the
Oh
world.
God, I thought it was the devil.
No, well, if you get him, you might get him, because the way you're going, we've turned over. There's only 10 cards, and every one of these 4 is a major tarot. So it's major situations. But because I'm talking to you, they are Martin's major situations. They might not be mine. Yeah? And they might not be your wonderful Alan angel. They might not be his. They will be yours. And they will be what's around you and what went before you. But this is a good card. So let's just go with that.
Yeah.
Because in terms of future, it is something you are doing now and something you have started to do now, which permeates into the future and opens up barriers for you that were closed before. And it's things like working for or with different countries. Sometimes India or that kind of part of the world, but also to the new worlds, America, Australia. So it's barriers that are worn down or opened down that were before were closed to you. And it is, the image of the card is quite strange and beautiful. It's an ovoid, the egg shape, and then you've got these 4 archetypal figures on the edge there. And inside of that egg shape, this lovely kind of blue ocean, you've got a sleeping soul, or a soul that's alive, waiting to be born, or is born. All of these cards are about change and development, but they're very, very big. And there's no way of setting them down easily. It's hopeful we'll get some 2s and 3s and 4s there, but the way we're going, it's doubtful. Let's put it this way, if you were boring, you wouldn't have those. If you were someone that was really just, bless him, a little grey sparrow amongst, you wouldn't have these. Or you might have them, but they would be, again, much more controlled, much more mitigated, much more manageable. The big thing comes back to this lovely card in the centre, which will be a person in the end. And a person really who is female rather than male. They can have a male shell, but they will have a lovely ability to understand tenderness and kindness. And so that will be a person in the end, a person that separates from the... I think in many ways it's Alan, but I don't think it's just that. I think it's, or just him, I think it is someone that is the next step along. And,
that really made me feel with Alan, because he's like...
Yeah, strong,
and
powerful.
Integrity, everything's truth. There's no lying.
Oh.
Everything has to be
well,
straight.
now there's an angel in the making there. Be interested to know.
That's why life's so hard, because everything's got to be so bloody straight. And I learned
oh, well,
from
that's
you.
good.
No, it's fine, but it's just hard. I learned it from you. I know everything's back and working again, because the highway, the Carmack highway is lit. So I'm very aware now. When I do one little thing wrong, I go, it's going to take about 3 days.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what I've got above. This is always a nice card above, because it becomes a kind of crowning thing. And suddenly, at last, we find a piece of really just the ordinary suit. As you probably know, or may not know, the ace represents for the tarot the whole of something. So if it was, say, the Ace of Cups, it would be the whole of water, the whole of everything that water can be imagined to be. Love, all of those lovely slushy memories, emotions, all of those things, tenderness, and also envy and all that. That's water. Same with, it would be the Ace of Fire, it would be the whole of creativity, the whole of spirituality caught in one card, then split off into 2, 3, 4, 5, right down to the 10, and then you get the court cards following up. The interesting thing is that I've got different ideas about the tarot. I've got friends who are pagans, fabulous people, and I went to one of their meetings recently where a very learned woman was talking about the tarot and how it evolved. Well, I remember reading years ago that the major arcanum are really separate, very separate to the minor, and that somehow in the Middle Ages, Middle Europe, they became merged together through the processes of travelling gypsies. The gypsies used to use the minor arcanum as playing cards, and doing what we're doing. And then somewhere along the line, the major and the minor got joined together to become the pack that we know now. So the two of coins is what you've got up there. That's a party card. It's a kind of but it's a particular type of party. It's not it's the let's have people round. It's a promoting card. It's where people join together with their little plates and their canopies and what have you, but really what they're doing, they're promoting business. So it's a hail fellow well met card. It's nice, it's okay.
Do you know what, that's makes me smile because it's just been work. So even the thought of hearing a party or any kind is good.
Yeah. Well, this is a decent kind of party. It is a decent one. The card also represents 2 slots of money. A piece of money being broken into 2 shares rather than one large, sludgy, lovely lump. Broken in 2 parts because it can't be given in one. That something needs to be done and something needs to be finished before the second lot is given. And it also becomes a trend. So when people say that a job is worth so-and-so, you'll find they will break it up. They will break it up into a lump of, say, 10,000 or whatever, and then you get the other when it's done. It's like, it's save all your little documents, save everything when you're going into a cafe, save your bills, whatever. It's really that kind of. But it's a good card. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it at all. And it's uppermost, so it's suggestive of a time of people meeting together to discuss plans and plans and plans with this kind of hail fellow well bet food in the background as being the medium. Maybe you're going to investigate, although I'm sure it's been done, wholesale food, how the purity or non-purity of it.
Well, with Brexit coming around the corner.
Yeah. Brexit, silly word. This silly. Oh, crumbs, Martin. Okay. We could be here for 3 or 4 hours, really, because this is the card. This is the Magus. You should remember him. You had him, the magician.
The magician is there?
Yeah, of course he is. And he's moved into a lovely feature slot.
He used
right.
to be there with the full
I know. Now you've got him in front of you. You've got your feet in him. Wow. And you've got Alan's feet in him. So you've got the magician is a lovely card.
I can't believe it came up.
I'm not at all surprised because it's really representative of who you are. Magician is a wonderful card because really it is a powerhouse. It's youth, though. If there is a though about it, if there is a but, it's young. It's the Sorcerer's Apprentice. Da 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 da. It's young magic. So it's there and it's raw. And as with all tarot cards, there's always a representative of what's to come. There is the sword there and the ace of coins and the cup and the wand. So it's a magician who has the world, the magic in his fingertips. But he's young. So here is your magician. And as he was in the middle, now he is in your preparatory future. So he's still here, but he's shifted into a useful spot.
So is that so better than now he's moved from there to there?
Well, in a way it is, because there is you, actually. Here he's actually being himself. He's flashing his magic around. He's actually, in the process of being a magician. He's not doing, as in The Sorcerer's Apprentice, chopping up brooms so that they're empty and carrying the water for him until the whole thing is flooding. He's got a little bit by that. So now there's maybe only 2 brooms being doing that instead of half a dozen. So and we should never underplay the power of the magician, because it is a wonderful card, the Magus. The Magus. Magician and Magus are somehow completely different words. Magician sounds okay, but Magus has gravitas, because what you're thinking of is what it takes to become. And I think the thing about the wizard is there is a difference, in the sense that a wizard, for me, almost feels more natural, more working with animals and stuff, whereas the Magus, he is wise and he is powerful. He can blow the world up. He is an atom bomb waiting to happen. So, how do you melt that card down, or any of these major tarot cards, into days and events? You can't really, because the magician or the Magus is what you are. It is what you do. It is a part of you that if we look at what you do and look at your work, that takes something and makes it scary and wonderful and fearful, and it's not normal, really, is it? A magician isn't a normal being. He is something beside normal. He's not abnormal or supernormal. He's just something else.
I'm used to it now. They call me unusual, odd.
Excuse him is really what they're saying. Excuse him.
I'm playing it, I've got the hat on, and it's funny actually, because I had to see a psychologist to get to the insomnia doctor for my ADHD, which I've been diagnosed 10 years ago, and she did the same thing. I said it was just a formality, and she goes, "You're a bit strange, man. You are a bit odd." And I went, "What is wrong with being odd?"
Nothing,
I said to her,
nothing.
"I think outside the box. You think inside."
Well, she thinks inside her box, and that doesn't make you odd.
But it's just,
yes, it's
I don't mind it.
It's okay. Perhaps it's even a kind of compliment in a way. They're actually defining you as being
They went on my
different.
hearing voices. I said, "No, I don't hear voices, but I do think there's other reality, and then you just got to stop. You just got to stop and realise.
Yeah, you're right. I have a little brain anomaly. It's a kind of epilepsy of the left temporal lobe, which is something that's occurred, probably to do with my age or whatever. But I went to see this lovely, lovely lady, part of a really, really wonderful doctor, and in the middle of it, made a big mistake. Talked about writing about out-of-body experiences. Oh, straight away, hang on a minute, let's get the pen out. Out-of-body experience, do you think this is caused because... I said, no, I'm actually referring to something completely different. But that made a dent in her understanding of me, that to the end, when the letter was actually delivered in the end discussing me, there it was. This lady has out-of-body experiences. And I thought, well, yes, I do, that's absolutely right. The whole of my books are really based on the idea that we are spirit with a body, not an out of body with a spirit, and that journeying out of body, as you do, what you did the other day with your electrodes there, you shifted outside to another consciousness, is actually a natural part of all of us. Some of us remember it more than others, but it had been written down as the cause of that.
Wow.
Or linked to that as being promoted by that, which is nothing to do with it. Dennis said at the time, my husband said at the time, "Don't tell you shouldn't." But it's too late.